Sometimes you could have a second layer of color if you think it's too light. And then if you make a mistake, you can just use a knife to scrape off the pigments. So that's the pink and the orange, and I am gonna work on the greens. I'm gonna mix up some greens color, and the plan is to have the stems be a lighter shade, and then the leaves a slightly darker shade. I normally try to get the color tones to be quite similar and not too far from each other, because then if it's too far from each other, it starts to feel a bit too far apart in terms of contrast. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the leaves. And because the leaves are small, so I'm using just a simple small brush. As I mentioned to my student this morning, you don't always have to use the big fat brush. You can use this size for the petals if you like, but you have to work really quickly. Maybe I'll just show you. So to work, oopsie, I can send that off later. That's like a drip. So you can work quickly through a petal without the use of a big fat brush. So just want to show you how that works. I'm mixing this green, and as usual, kick up all the pigments, and you have to be super quick and pull all the paint down to the bottom. You can see I still have some brush strokes, so let's try again. Okay. In order to avoid the brush strokes, you have to have a lot of paint in your brush. So I load it up with a lot of paint, and then I just work through quickly and then pull the rest of the paint down, and you can see that pools at the bottom and it becomes a darker shade. So that method works too. You just have to be really relaxed and quick. You have to be really relaxed, because I find that, you know, if you're too nervous, it just doesn't work out, you know. Once you get used to the technique, you can actually do it. So actually I get all my students to use the big fat brush, only because it's just hold a lot more paint and it's just easier to for them to unload the paint. So sometimes accidents do happen when I shake the brush, and you can see there's like a couple of drips. You don't worry too much about it, because you can just sand it off. I think now I'm finding the two greens a bit too similar, so I'm gonna make an adjustment in a bit, and I'll show you how that can be done. So over time I've learned to be a lot less fussy. I think when I strive too much for perfection, I couldn't quite enjoy the flow of it. Just overall, I think when you're training and you're just getting used to the technique, it's good to let go of the perfection until physically you are really used to the method. So that's the green leaves. Yeah, so as I say, I like to add a tinge of darker green, so I could just give it a little bit more interesting tone. And so you can just do it by adding a thin layer to the edge. Sometimes you can't necessarily see a huge difference when it's not being fired yet. So just be aware of that. After everything gets fired, the colors are going to be more intense. So something to keep in mind. So that's it. The piece is finished. I'm just gonna sand off the mistakes. So I like to add a couple more lines. So if you regret not adding some lines, you still can. Obviously, it's you know, sometimes it's like it's a bit of a design decisions in terms of how you want to do your drawing. Okie dokie. So that's finished. I hope that gives you an insight into Fa Hua Cai, which is sleep drilling and foot wash. If you like to learn more about the technique, how to troubleshoot through the issues, have all the exact recipes for the sleep and the paint, you can find me on my website, and I'm in the midst of setting up online classes so I can reach a wider audience. Yeah, I thank you for watching the video and hope this helps you further. And yes, subscribe to my channel, help me survive through this hobby. Yeah, just a shout out to Ma, who contacted me from USA. It's so cool to have a student sign up with me. Thanks again, Ma, for signing up and supporting my little side hustle. I really appreciate it. Thank you.